Welcome back inside the Chamber of Truth with your co-host Leak and Josh. We are back after a brief hiatus, man. We had to get some things right and make a couple moves, but we back. TikTok is still alive. We happy to hear it, so we'll be back with more content, baby. We got a lot to talk about.
We
today.
sure do.
Yeah, we got a lot to talk about. It's a lot coming up this weekend. Is Benavidez Morel weekend, which we will be in attendance for, and look out for some live updates from Vegas as we will be in the building for that. Great card. We'll get to that in just a minute. We have some other big news coming down the pipeline. Number one, Jaron Boots Ennis versus Montes Stanionis has been booked for April 12th in Atlantic City for a unification bout, one that Boots has been chasing. Montes Stanionis has always said he wanted to fight. He's finally outside.
Absolutely.
That's been made. Beautiful to hear. And, of course, the biggest fight in the sport of boxing has been made. Saul Canelo Alvarez versus Terrence Bud Crawford in September at 168 is going down. So while we've been away for this 2 weeks, all the promotion companies have been setting up the year.
This is why we waited. A lot of news dropped.
All of the promotion companies and all the promoters have been setting up their year and setting up the schedule for us to be excited for. So now we're here to bring it down. So let's start with the big one, man. Let's start with Canelo versus Crawford. Because last time we talked about this, the Canelo Crusaders,
the Caneloites,
went dumb on us in the comments.
And that's fine.
And I hope y'all do it again, because we here to talk the same shit. So now that the fight is booked, has anything changed from your standpoint? Because, see, what we talked about last time was what could happen.
Absolutely.
Now let's talk about what you think would happen, because that's where they get us mixed up. Well, y'all just black, so y'all go and say Bud win. I never said Bud was going to win. I said Bud could win the fight if certain things happen. Now we're going to talk about what we actually believe will happen. So go ahead and set it off and tell us what you think about it.
Personally, in my opinion, I think Canelo will win in the end. But at the same time, I have to say, bro, I really think Bud Crawford has an absolute hell of a chance to win. I think it's 3-1 odds, in my opinion, which is very good. And for all you Caneloites, if you remember one fight that Canelo fought where it was kind of similar, when he fought Amir Khan. Mm-hmm. Amir Khan had never, ever went up to 160 or 154 pounds, whatever it was. And Amir Khan was completely outboxing Canelo Alvarez. But, of course, Canelo Alvarez landed his left hook. And that is the danger of moving up in weight, and taking those kind of risks. But with all due respect, Crawford is not Amir Khan. Crawford is a lot more defensively sound, can switch, has much better footwork and movement, a much better jab, and much more IQ. So it would be a lot harder for Canelo to even land that kind of shot. But in my opinion, I still think Canelo will win. But at the same time, man, the more I think about the fight and analyze it and how well Crawford's preparation is, how well his team is, he doesn't have just one trainer, handling everything. He has 4 different coaches in boxing, coaches in nutrition, and on top of that, the thing I love about this is that they're not putting this fight on immediately in May. Yeah. They're giving Crawford some time to get his body acclimated. And I hear that he is going to take a fight at a catch weight of 160 or 164 pounds, which I believe is smart. But he's going to be fighting from what our sources tell us, a very recognizable name in Sergey Derevyanchenko, who's fought Gennady Golovkin.
Which is really dangerous. I mean, it's possible. I don't know. That's not like confirmed. That's rumors that's talked about. I don't think, for me personally, I do think if you want to take this fight Canelo at 68 seriously, yes, I understand the move. But also from a business standpoint, I don't know if it's the best move, because I've also seen that he may fight Derevyanchenko at 168, which is like, we know that coming up to 68 as Crawford is a risk.
Well, you got to test yourself. You got to realize,
which again, I
ladies and gentlemen.
But going back to what I'm saying, the business-wise, the Canelo fight for Crawford is a cash grab. It's not, I'm daring to be great. He's already done that with many weight classes. This is a cash out and retire. Terrence Crawford's 37 years old. We know that. So if you're going to come up to 68, it almost makes more sense to me to just do the one-time thing, come up, fight Canelo, and if you win or lose, you out with the big paycheck. If you lose to Derevyanchenko at 68, you may lose that Canelo fight.
Ladies and gentlemen, let me ask you a question. What would you rather lose? Would you rather lose a fight, or would you rather lose your life? You have to realize, Canelo, did you see what he did to Sergey Kovalev?
How long ago was that? And when was the
last
last time that Canelo knocked an opponent out?
That was at 175 pounds. Did you see what happened to Amir Khan?
When was the last time Canelo knocked an opponent out?
I don't care. He's still knocking people down. Still knocking good fight. You can't knock. He battered Jaime Munguia, and in my opinion, he didn't even press the gas on Jaime Munguia because I really do feel like he felt he wanted to help Jaime Munguia. He was battering that nigga at the end of the last 3-4 rounds. He could have stepped on the gas, but Canelo, being his Mexican countryman showing class, didn't want to do that in my opinion. But with this fight, bro, like you gotta realize, look what happened to Amir Khan. Like Canelo is still snappy. Canelo still has power in his hooks. It's going to be a lot harder to find Crawford with all of Crawford's IQ, get his jabs, switching off, and his technical prowess. But in my opinion, Crawford can get either Crawford's going to win unanimous decision or he's getting knocked out.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm obviously Crawford. Nobody's going to pick Crawford to get a stoppage in this fight. That's just not practical.
And sorry to cut you off. And respectfully, I think it is smart for Crawford to take a fight right now because he struggled with Madrimov. Now, Madrimov is a very technical fighter. A lot of people don't really realize that. Yeah. Madrimov is throwing,
and that's what people are throwing out there. Of course, it wasn't his best showing, and it just so happened to be when he came up to 54.
You want to go up to, you want to get your body acclimated. You want to make sure you can take these punches.
I don't think that the Madrimov fight went that way because of the weight, though. That was just because the fighter that Madrimov is.
But you have to realize, if another 164, 160, 168 pounder lands some shots like that, you're not taking those. You don't know that.
In theory.
And you know that as a sport. I don't know if I can take those.
He took him at 54. You probably would have said at that time he wouldn't take him there.
A lot of niggas said they took punches at a certain weight, went up and got knocked out.
That's a lot of niggas. We're talking about one nigga, Terrence Bud Crawford.
Who's been dropped.
Now, I want to address the Canelo crusade because, again, Josh has already said that he thinks that in the end Canelo will win. So contrary to y'all belief, just because we black doesn't mean we picking Crawford to win.
Exactly.
Are we rooting for Crawford? Most likely. But that doesn't mean that we're picking him.
Absolutely. I love Canelo too. And what he's done.
That doesn't mean that we're saying he will win. Now, the thing that I don't like about the Canelo Crusaders is y'all can't even sit up here and acknowledge that there are things that each fighter is better than the other at. Just because Canelo is the great mighty Canelo, you assume that he's better in every single category of the sport.
Absolutely.
That's not true.
And let me ask these Caneloites, when was the last time you actually faced a very technical, athletic fighter who had great footwork and could move and had defensive prowess? And don't say Danny Jacobs. Danny Jacobs had some athletic ability and power, but Danny Jacobs is not a quick twitch athletic kind of guy. I'm talking about an Erislandy Lara. You remember that? A lot of people thought Erislandy Lara won that fight, including myself.
Yeah, split decision.
Exactly. He's dealing with something like that, if not even worse, because Crawford can switch, and he has a great jab, footwork, defensive prowess, IQ. You have to realize there are certain possibilities in boxing that can happen. That's why these people get in the ring and have to fight. You have to realize Crawford brings a set of skills Canelo has not seen in years. And you got to realize Canelo is of older age. You have to realize to deal with a fighter that has all technical prowess and athleticism and speed and quick feet, power too, if he carries it. Canelo hasn't seen anything like this. And like I said, the last person that Canelo possibly faced like this, he was getting outboxed until he landed a left hook. And with all due respect, that had happened to that fighter a couple times before, especially with Danny Garcia.
Yeah. And that's where, at the end of the day, if I was to bet on this, for all y'all in the comments asking me to put my money up, I never said I would put my money on Bud Crawford.
Absolutely
if I was
not.
to bet on this fight, I wouldn't bet on it because the odds are going to be Canelo favored by so much. I would put money on Canelo, though, because I do think at the end of the day, he has the better chance to win. Do I still believe Bud could win the fight? Could, keyword? Yes, I do, because he has a skill set that I think can transfer up in weight divisions. He doesn't just walk around. Yes, he stopped everybody. He fought at 147, but that wasn't his game plan to come into the fight looking for the stoppage. He collected it when it came to him. He's a pure boxer puncher, and I think his team and his discipline and it's going to carry up, and he'll still have the ability to possibly win this fight. So I'm excited for it.
Absolutely.
I want to say we're going to try to go to that one, but I can imagine the nosebleeds is probably going to be 1,200 damn selves. So I don't know. I don't know if we're going to be able to swing that one, but
that'd be a clean card to go to.
Yeah. So that's fire. But all right, enough on them too. We'll get back to them as they get closer. We probably going to be talking about that all year. Let's transition into the welterweight division, where Jaron Ennis is getting his opportunity to
big unification fight
against Eimantas Stanionis.
It's about time. It's about time something big happens in the 147-pound division.
This is it. Yes, is it. Stanionis has been saying he wants this fight for years. He has just had some unfortunate luck with his opponents, with all the times he was scheduled to fight Virgil Ortiz, and it just wasn't able to happen because of shit on Virgil's side. I think one time
Virgil was killing himself to make weight, and they couldn't make weight.
Yeah, it just wasn't happening, so he's kind of been shelved, and the fights he did have weren't really huge fights because of that. And Boots has just been out here fighting Karen Chookagian and all of these guys because he hasn't been able to get none of the other champions in the ring.
Absolutely.
So shout out to Eddie Hearn for finally making this happen for him.
Shout out to Stanionis, man, because you got to realize a lot of people are not trying to fight Boots right now.
Yeah.
A lot of people, and you got to realize, dealing with a really good fighter who's really technical, has a lot of athletic gifts and speed and footwork and power, has it all. I mean, you really don't want to deal with something like that, especially if you don't need to. You know what I mean? Especially if you're already making money with a good promoter. Why would you go to him? You know what I mean? Unless they're paying a bunch of buku bucks. But yeah. Credit to Stanionis. Stanionis, coming from the PBC side, I honestly did not see this happening. But I actually credit to Al Heyman and PBC for allowing Stanionis to go out, and seek a unification fight with Jaron Ennis. I'm very happy to see promoters from DAZN and happy to see promoters from PBC working together, because you typically don't see that often unless it's a Turkey Al-Sheikh Ritter card. But I'm really happy to see this kind of collaboration, and to me this only means that there's further collaboration coming down the pipe. But man, Jaron Ennis finally gets his shot.
Yeah,
he's been asking for a big fight. He was in negotiations, with Virgil Ortiz. Unfortunately, everybody was disappointed when he pulled out of that. But I'm happy that this fight got made. And this
is literally the only fight that makes it okay.
Absolutely.
For him to pull out a Virgil Ortiz fight.
Absolutely.
This is the one that had to be made for that to make sense, because if you're not fighting, if you're not moving up to go to 154 and fight a name like Virgil, you have to be getting a unification. And it pretty much has to be Stanionis. Barrios might have been okay.
No, not after that last performance.
And it really, like I said,
not after
really
that last performance against Abel Ramos. And to be honest with you, Brian Norman, and with all due respect, Brian Norman is a very talented champion, but in my opinion, he's ranked. Remember, everybody has to get in the ring and fight, but he's ranked third at 147 in my opinion.
Yeah.
To me, Stanionis has a clear claim to be number 2. He's fought Ratza Butayev, who was a former world champion at 147 pounds. Then he fought Gabriel Maestre on the undercard of the Tim Tszyu and Sebastian Fundora card. And Gabriel Maestre is a very good fighter himself, who knocked out a Trayvon Marshall, an up-and-coming young prospect who's a very good fighter himself, who will be fighting for world championships in a couple years coming soon. You'll hear his name as well. But yes, Gabriel Maestre is a former interim world champion at 147 pounds. Is a former, I think, a bronze Olympian medalist from his native of Brazil, or Argentina. But either way, he's a very good fighter. It was a very good fight, and Stanionis did his thing. But Stanionis hasn't fought in a year and a half. So
yeah, that was his only fight since April of 22, and that was in May. So it'll be another year between fights. So maybe a little ring rust that might be there for Stanionis. But I want to say this to Jaron Boots Ennis. Great fighter, my favorite fighter in the division. One of my favorite fighters in the sport right now. I'm a big fan of Bozy Ennis, the whole camp. Andy Cruz just had a great showing this past weekend, by the way, in the Bozy Ennis camp. This is the fight that can make or break Jaron Ennis. This is the fight that could catapult him into being a star, or this is the fight that can have his detractors grow some legs if he doesn't put on a star-studded performance. He has to not only win this fight, he has to put on a great show, which his style is very exciting, entertaining every time he fights, whether he's getting hit or not. But after his last fight, the rematch versus Chookagian, he did get hit a little bit much, and he kind of had the excuse that he wasn't really up for that fight because he already had beat Karen and wasn't really excited for it. That's out the window. You can't have that mindset. It just does not exist for this fight. So we should see the best of Boots. We should see the best of Bozy. And I hope we get, the firefight we're looking for. And this is one that we for sure going to try to pull up to Atlantic City and be in the building for. So I'm hyped for it.
Man, I love what you just said. But yeah, I'm absolutely hyped for this fight. But at the same time, Stanionis is a dog.
Yeah.
And this is and with all due respect,
15-0, 9 KOs. Stanionis, champion.
And with all due respect, Karen Kachukajaji, I don't even know how to say his last name, was a very good fighter himself. He's obviously been ranked number 1 in the IBF 2 times, and he's a top 5, in my opinion, a top 10 fighter at 147 pounds. But Stanionis is better than him. I'm sorry. Eimantas Stanionis has a great left hook, a great jab that he starts his offense with. He puts a lot of pressure on you. He's very technically sound. He's very defensively sound. He can take a punch. Like I said, you guys need to go watch his fight against Ratza Butayev, who was, like I said, a former interim champion at 147 pounds. That was a hell of a fight. But in that fight, he got through some tough timings, used his jab, and and was just pressuring, moving forward, using right hands, left hooks to the body, left hooks to the head, and then the same thing when he fought Grable and Maestre. Very good fight, but he pulled out. I really, really like Eimantas Stanionis. I am not gonna lie to you. Very, very technical sound, has good speed, good power. He's not super athletically gifted, but he is athletically gifted enough. You know what I mean? And he keeps his head down. He can take a shot. He has very good intent on his punches. He can put pressure on you. He can box on the outside. I really, really like Eimantas Stanionis. In my opinion, Boots has a problem on his hands, in my opinion. Because with all due respect, ladies and gentlemen, you have to realize this is the sport of boxing. This man is coming from Lithuania. He was a former Olympian himself. This man, you got to realize, dudes that come from, and this is the beautiful thing about the sport of boxing, any man can come from anywhere and become world champion, and once he's given his opportunity. Eimantas Stanionis has been waiting for his opportunity. He's had good, decent, world-class level fights, but on undercards of other champions, undercards of other colleagues. He finally gets a main event against a big name. You don't think he's coming for blood?
Yeah.
You don't think he's coming to put his family up?
It's a chance for both of them.
You don't think one win for him changes everything? He's a champion, but one win for him changes everything. Changes his whole outlook on the sport of boxing. Changes his whole aura, ladies and gentlemen. And this is the wonderful and beautiful thing about the sport of boxing. It's there for both of men. You must fight for it. And even if you and the wonderful thing I like about this, I think it's okay for both fighters to lose, because in my opinion, this is their first 50-50 fight, and when you get in these kind of fights, there's 2 people in the ring, ladies and gentlemen. Somebody has to lose. I'm sorry, unless the promotions pull a Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder and do a draw, get 2 or 3 fights out of it.
I mean, as long as it's a great fight, I do agree with you on that. To an extent, though.
Jaron Ennis has the height. But the thing is, Eimantas Stanionis, because he comes from Lithuania, I feel like not a lot of people know him unless you're a hardcore boxing fan.
Which is why, even more to why Boots needs
and this is why I love the sport of boxing. And this works in the favor of Eimantas Stanionis. Nigga, you don't know much about me. But you finna see.
Facts. He got a chance to put himself in front of a lot of people who never seen him fight before, and he's gonna be fighting a person that a lot of people have on this pedestal. So.
And he's not afraid. He's excited for this opportunity.
He's been wanting it for years.
This is the sport of boxing that I love. I love this. And Eimantas Stanionis and them get paid. So I love this for the young fighter. Like I said, these are what opportunities are made of. Boxing gives opportunities to young men to better and further their lives. So I'm very happy about this, and I'm excited for this fight. And honestly, New Jersey, we may have to rock through in Atlantic City, New Jersey. I ain't never been to New Jersey.
It's like Vegas to the East Coast, so I'm down to rock to it. Hopefully they put a decent card together, so we have a couple fights to look at besides
absolutely,
just this
one, absolutely. The zone's undercards be questionable sometimes. They be ass here and there. So
there's actually something that I forgot we need to touch on before we get to the Morrell Benavidez.
And what is that?
That's the Devin Haney Ryan Garcia rematch being made.
You see how the spirit put it in you? I wasn't even gonna bring it up.
Yeah, so
you're coming around, Malik.
Devin Haney and Ryan Garcia have agreed on the rematch. It's just funny that he had to drop the lawsuit to make this happen.
Ladies and gentlemen,
money talk, don't it?
Ladies and gentlemen, let me paint a scenario.
I guess he wasn't really assaulted and battered as much as he thought.
Are you gonna let me speak my piece?
Oh yeah, go ahead. Speak your piece.
When I say this, y'all go, I get it now. Ladies and gentlemen, we were cheated, battered, and abused.
Oh, my God. Then why'd you drop the suit?
Are you going to let me speak? You're acting like a female now who jumps to conclusions.
I'm going to let you slide on that one time. Proceed.
I've been raised in the chamber of truth since I was 5. I'm ready. My father dropped me with a body shot, but I'm ready. But anyway, ladies and gentlemen, as a fighter that Devin Haney is a tough fighter from Oakland, California. We want that back in blood. But the thing is, the other party has to sign. We can't force him into another fight with us. So do you know what we did as leverage? We put that $4 million lawsuit on his ass. And threatened him that if you don't come and settle this in the chamber of truth and the court of blood, without PEDs, without cheating, without IVs, on an even level playing field, we want a rematch. But like I said, Malik, not many people will adhere to a rematch and willing to get tested for 8 to 12 months straight. I have to give Ryan Garcia credit for that. But, when Turki Al-Sheikh offer a bag, you got to take it.
Yeah, so this is going to be under the guise of Turki Al-Sheikh, and he's going to put a bag behind it. And so there's a plan for these fighters right now. So
the lawsuit has been dropped, by the way. That lawsuit was leverage.
As it's laid out right now, they're both going to have a fight on the same card where they're not fighting each other. Ryan Garcia is going to fight Rolando Rolly Romero. And Devin Haney is going to fight Jose
former
Ramirez.
140 unified champion Jose Ramirez. This is a wonderful
fight. He's going to fight Jose Ramirez. And then, as long as they both win those fights,
and Ryan Garcia is drug free,
and then they'll have a rematch later in 2025. And then there's a rematch clause on that fight as well for them to fight in the top of 2026. For a trilogy. To do a trilogy for Garcia and Haney. So if things go as planned and we make it to the rematch with a clean Ryan Garcia and a victorious Haney and Ryan Garcia, how do you see the fight playing out?
I don't even know why you asked me that question.
I need to hear it.
Unanimous decision or knockout by the 9th round by Devin Haney. Easily. You have to realize now, ladies and gentlemen, that left hook will not be the same. We will be ready and waiting for that left hook because we will have been trained for that left hook.
But you said that coming into this fight, the whole Devin Haney camp said coming into this fight that they knew about the left hook the first time.
They did, but we didn't know about a left hook that was on PEDs.
Oh, so because of the power of it, it changed everything.
It's a little bit more twitchy. It's a little bit more power, a little bit more speed. Ladies and gentlemen, performance-enhancing drugs enhances your performance. That's why they are banned. His left hook was a lot quicker. Even Shakur said that. He ain't seen that left hook be that quick and snappy. He ain't seen that. Devin Haney will beat Ryan Garcia's ass in the rematch and in the trilogy. As long as they're on even playing fields and Ryan Garcia does not cheat. If that does not happen and they're on an even level playing field, Devin Haney is going to run through Ryan Garcia. I promise you that. You got to realize we coming back but we were done wrong. We were assaulted in the ring. Our life was on the line.
I do believe Devin Haney's a better boxer than Ryan Garcia.
No, fuck that. He's a better fighter. Better fighter, better boxer, better runner, better defensive fighter, better footwork. Everything's better.
I just said I agree.
Except the left hook.
Which is the equalizer.
Yeah, but when that left hook ain't on PEDs, it ain't the same.
We have to see what it really hit like. You're not in there taking the left hook.
You're right about that.
So we have to see how he responds to it.
And I'm sure Devin Haney, even if it does get hit with the left hook.
Maybe Derek James trains him to have another punch in the arsenal for this fight. Maybe it ain't just the left hook.
We're going to be waiting. Devin Haney is going to be ready for everything. Freddie Roach, then Devin Haney, father, will have him ready for everything.
Do you believe that this fight is going to go as according to plan as far as them making it to the fight with neither one of them losing the fight before?
Now, if the fight gets called off, with all due respect, the only way the fight gets called off is if Ryan Garcia gets caught for doing performance-enhancing drugs or regular drug. I feel like if he's doing...
Or if he gets slapped by Rolly, which probably ain't going to happen.
It's boxing. I done seen many of things happen in boxing. Especially niggas with power.
Like Ryan Garcia's power?
Yeah, let me.
Things can happen to Devin Haney. He's facing somebody with power.
Let me just paint this picture. We were mauled and dropped and battered by a performance-enhancing user.
Oh, how many times?
And you know how many times we got up? We got up 3 times. Every single time. We didn't quit. We knew something was off, but guess what? And with all due respect, y'all have to realize the nigga didn't make weight, and we got a notice from VADA that he tested positive for an adverse finding. The problem is they just didn't know what it was because they had to do a second test. So going into the fight, We knew he was dirty and he didn't make weight. The problem was we can't cancel the fight because we're not going to find a replacement within a day. And I'm not fighting for $900,000. I'm fighting for $40 million. Devin Haney didn't have to take that fight. He took that fight to put on entertainment for y'all. And this is how y'all treat him. And he didn't complain not once.
He shouldn't, because once you accept the fight, you accept what comes with it.
No, when we accept the fight, we signed a contract to fight a nigga on an even playing field.
You just said you knew he was dirty coming in.
We did.
Why then you that money is
16 hours before the fight we knew he was dirty.
Hey, then why'd you go in the ring with him?
Because that money. Because my family needs to eat, Malik. I can't pay my family. I can pay my family with $900.
That money make you do evil things.
And make you do evil things. And it make you take your beating. We took our beating like a man. We got up we knew something was off. That's why we wasn't worried. We got up every single time. And we got through the fight after being assaulted and beaten and battered and done wrong. We filed a lawsuit to make sure that nigga got into a rematch. And once he got into the rematch, we didn't give a fuck about the lawsuit. That was leverage. If he wasn't going to take the rematch, he going to give me $4 or $5 million for battery.
All right, we're going to get back to this. We got plenty of time to talk about the Ryan.
We are going to talk about this many a times. Fight. Absolutely.
So let's get into this upcoming weekend. We will be in Las Vegas. For
Absolutely. We're going to be rocking.
Huge matchup. The David versus David. David Benavidez versus David Morrell.
Absolutely.
At 175 for I believe it's the WBC interim title. The winner is supposed to be set up to face the winner of the Artur Beterbiev Dmitry Bivol rematch to get a shot at them titles. A lot of people have this as the biggest matchup of the year skill-wise. I think it's great. I don't think it's that.
I think it's a wonderful matchup.
It's a wonderful. I've been looking forward to it.
Is it skill-wise? It is a great matchup, and hype-wise, this is a wonderful matchup at 175 pounds.
Yeah,
and I like I said, you got David Benavidez, a pressure fighter who has really fast hands, comes forward, doesn't stop, can take some shots, and dishes out really good punishment. Versus a guy who's a very slick boxer, can hit you hard, is very he's a Cuban school boxer, very fast hands. Very technical.
Explosive, too.
Explosive. Can knock your lights off with one punch. Is a southpaw. Has great range. Great distance management. Good footwork and punch off angles. Has great head movement. I really like David Morrell in this fight. But in my opinion, I think David Benavidez, because of the run he's been on, has the opponents he's recently faced. He does have the upper hand. But in my opinion, I think this is the most talented fighter skill-wise and athletically gifted-wise that he's faced. With all due respect,
I agree with that.
I thought that was Demetrius Andrade, who was a very accomplished and talented former champion himself. But in my opinion, he's really a bulked up 160-pound fighter. This is a true natural 170-pound fighter. And he's fought at 175 pounds in the amateurs. So I'm really happy for David Benavidez, and I'm really happy. And you have to give him a lot of credit for taking a fight like this. A lot of people know Morrell like that. This isn't a huge blockbuster. It's a huge fight, but it's not a huge blockbuster fight like a Canelo.
Yeah, it's not one that he had to jump out the window and take right now. With Morrell only having 11 professional fights and one at 175 right now. These are two dudes who were both forced up pretty much from 168 because Canelo was holding all them belts down there, and they were looking for opportunity to become champions, so they went up to 175, and now the winner of this will apparently get a shot to become champion at 75. So
against the winner of the Bivol and
Beterbiev
rematch.
Great opportunity for both these fighters to put themselves in a position to change the trajectory of their careers. Again, I agree with everything you said. Morrell's explosive. He has a lot of natural athleticism and things that Benavidez hasn't seen a bunch of times. But Benavidez has the experience at the pro level, the boxing skill set to potentially offset that. I think it's going to be a great matchup.
And the power.
I lean towards David Benavidez. I think he just has a little bit more in his arsenal. Morrell can win this fight a couple ways, so I'm not counting him out at all. But I do lean towards Benavidez in this one. But I'm just excited to see it, and it's got a good undercard as well.
Absolutely, the Stephen Fulton fight versus Brandon Figueroa,
which is a rematch, a title fight. They fought for a title at a lower weight division. Now they're fighting for one again here at 126. So I'm great. That's going to be a great fight. Pitbull Cruz fighting Angel Fierro on this card, and then Jesus Ramos fighting Jason Rosario on this card. So bunch of former champions on this card. 2 title fights. This is gonna be a big card, man. I'm hyped.
I'm hyped too, and I'm excited for this fight.
Which of the undercard are you most excited to see? Figueroa, Fulton, Pitbull, Fierro?
Figueroa, Fulton, absolutely. Yeah. Come on, man. That's not even a question. First and foremost, ladies and gentlemen, I encourage you to watch their first fight. That has over 2 million views on YouTube itself. Yeah. That was a hell of a fight, and it could have gone either way. So, and this is for more. Honestly, this is for vacant championship, right?
Yeah.
Ladies and gentlemen, the last time they fought was for unified titles. They unified titles together, and Stephen Fulton won that fight. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a huge opportunity to put your name back in the history books as a 2-3-time world champion.
Yeah, this is
4-time world champion.
This is 4 years later. They fought in November of 21. 3.5 years later, 4 or 5 pounds heavier, 3.5 more years experienced. Cool Boy's 30 years old now. Like, these guys are at a different level than they were the last time that they fought.
Absolutely.
Figueroa's 28 years old now, 2 years younger.
They're in the prime. They're supposed to be in their prime right now.
It's time for us to see this rematch and really see who has elevated to what level.
I'm excited about this, man. We're going to be in the building. We're going to be, by the grace of God, a little turnt. You know what I'm saying? Maybe a little under the influence. You know what I'm saying?
But our eyes still work. Our eyes and ears will be
eyes
tuned
sensory.
In.
You know, and anybody want to try me? You know what I'm saying?
Jab, look at that jab. High, low, okay. Yeah, we gonna be in the building.
Make sure you put that in there. You know, yeah.
we gonna have a great time, and we definitely gonna be recapping that one when we get back in here.
Facts, absolutely.
Following the event, so
we may have a little vlog for y'all too. Who knows?
Yeah, we gonna try to put something together.
Absolutely.
Anything else you want to touch on before we get up out of here?
No, man. Boxing is popping for 2025. I know it's been a slow month in the month of January, but February going forward, man, boxing has a hot schedule.
Yeah, so. we're gonna break that down too when we get back. We'll look at all of the fights that we know of for 2025.
Absolutely.
A huge card coming up in February, Riyadh season, the Bivol Beterbiev rematch, which is on paper looks like potentially the best card ever put together.
Only $30 for pay-per-view too.
Look at Turkey, man. How they hating on the boy. Turkey for president, man. This man is giving out $30 pay-per-views for the most stacked card on paper we may have ever seen.
With four championship fights on the card. That's crazy.
Giving fighters the biggest paychecks they have ever seen. Making promotion companies work together. Why y'all mad at the boy?
Come on,
Even if he got an agenda of his own, I don't give a fuck. Because the fans and the fighters is both getting what they want. So how can you be mad at that?
Even B-side fighters are getting paid. How could you be mad at that?
Come on, man.
B-side niggas who ain't never fought at a stage like that and never been paid.
We might even get the Tevin Farmers a pay to rematch fucking with Turkey Al-Sheikh.
They already signed.
See, what y'all mad at?
They signed.
What y'all hating on Turkey for?
Turkey is a fan of boxing just like I am.
Mm-hmm.
I knew he was a fan of boxing when he watched McCallum versus...
Putting all them Riyadh season fights on YouTube 2-3 days after they happen. How you mad at the boy?
Mike McCallum versus James Toney.
Yeah.
That's when I knew he was a fan.
Turkey, that boy. But we going to get up out of here, man. Tune in with us next time. Inside the Chamber of Truth.